All right, we are back with more. Please be happy. In the last one, we went to the dog store. To the pet store, got some food, almost got our dog run over, and it was scary. And it actually real life panicked me. Then we got to talk to Minso, the descendant of Zhang Yin, and it was super, super great. I loved it, as I love everything in this game. So yeah, with that being said, let's just go ahead and jump into it. After taking yesterday off, I sit down at the library desk with the dog for the first time. He does his usual pacing and sniffing, since this is the first time he's really explored this area. I keep an eye on him while I start on the day's tasks, but he just flops on the floor near my feet and dozes. Eventually, the first person who needs help comes up to the desk, carrying a couple books with them.
Oh my god!
The sound of the new voice gets the puppy to stand up, and the lady across from me melts when she sees him.
Can I pet him? Sure!
It's not really up to me. If he doesn't want to be pet, he'll just walk away. The next person to show up does more or less the same thing, and the person after them too. As the day gets later, the library gets busier. At least half the people who come in ask to pet the dog. I'm pretty sure some of the help requests I get are just excuses to come see him. He handles it all pretty well, though, even leaving my side to go explore and visit with folks himself. Wait, we actually get to see her face and her without her cloak on? Oh, what? Oh my gosh, that caught me so off guard. Because I was going to say, when she was, saying her pseudo goodbye, I was like, oh, it kind of sucks we don't, get to see her, take the mask off, essentially. But that's awesome. And it just, happened. Oh my gosh. A little bit later, after lunchtime, the front door opens slowly. I look up from the form I'm working on to see one of the last people I expected. She isn't wearing her mask, so I get a clear view of her face as she narrows her eyes at the name, but approaches me all the same. I haven't seen Silver since Halloween, after she gave me back my scroll and disappeared into the night. More than once I've thought about going up to Mount Victoria to look for her, but haven't. It felt like I should give her some space after last time. She stops at the desk, standing across from me, surrounded by books and other guests. Plus, being in the broad daylight, she looks a bit out of place. A short bark from next to me startles her, and she blinks in surprise as the dog runs around the desk to stand at her feet and yap at her directly.
A friend of yours?
Something like that. I found him at the park, and I've been taking care of him for a couple days.
He's a dog in the true sense of the word, then.
As far as I know, yeah, you finally got it right.
Her lips curl but into a smile instead of a sneer. Although she doesn't try to pet him, she looks down at the dog with some amusement. He stopped barking and instead sniffs her furiously, looking between her and me like he's trying to figure something out.
He seems happy.
You can read his aura?
No, I can read his body language and his wagging tail.
No? I don't need to, though.
Gosh, seeing her smile is so weird. It's weird, I didn't expect it. Deciding she's either boring or not a threat, the dog comes back to my side and lies down again, gnawing quietly on his chew toy. Silver looks back to me, but then her eyes narrow again.
Oh, yeah.
I take off my necklace and hold it so she can see the crack starting to appear.
It started doing this a couple days ago.
Keeping her distance, she inspects it warily. In the palm of my hand, where the bead itself sits, I can feel a faint pulse like a heartbeat, although it doesn't sync up with my own.
So not much longer, then.
Right.
It feels a little awkward to acknowledge, like I'm beating her in a race I didn't mean to participate in, but there's not any point in denying it either.
I'm kinda scared of what's gonna happen next, to tell you the truth.
Scared? Why?
Change, I guess.
Shinho, Skyfox. Just thinking of the word summons visions of blue skies and rolling forests in my mind. The pulse in my palm quickens.
Hey, I have a question. What do you think would happen if I broke it?
Broke what?
This.
I hold my bead up closer, and she takes an instinctive half step backwards.
If I just crushed it or got rid of it instead of swallowing it. If that's even possible.
The spindly breaks that cover the bead make it look like it could fall apart any second, like even if a light wind could shatter it. I can only imagine what Silver must be thinking. She's probably shocked that I'm even asking, but she keeps any scorn she's feeling off her face, and finally she shrugs.
I know not, nor why you would even consider such a thing. Though I have a guess. The magic within our fox being is as much a part of us as her breath and blood. Perhaps there is no life without it. Or perhaps we'd be no different than beasts.
You mean you think I'd turn back into a fox?
Maybe. Maybe not. I couldn't say. I've never heard of any of her sisters ever trying.
A lump forms in my throat that I force back down.
I never thought of that. It makes sense though, huh? Since it was the bead that made me what I am.
So do we have to swallow it before it breaks then? She jabs a finger in my face, hand hovering over my necklace.
Shut up.
Huh?
I only said it was possible. I doubt it would happen. Either way, how dare you? Your being is but a means to an end. It may have given you a chance, but it was you who took it.
Heck yeah, Silver, give her a pep talk.
Every step you've taken has been your own. It made you nothing but capable.
Silver holds her arm out, putting her shining bracelet into clear view.
Whoever or whatever you are now, you can never be a normal fox again, even were you to take the form of one. Still, what power your being does offer has been ever in your service. Should you choose to discard it, I fail to see why it wouldn't respect your final wish.
Up close like this, I'm able to see Silver's bracelet clearly for the first time. Up close like this, I'm able to see Silver's bracelet clearly for the first time. The light makes it difficult, but not impossible. Although my bead is plain and round, nearly identical to the non-magical ones on my necklace, hers narrows at the middle and then widens again like an hourglass. A few colorful bands run across it, almost too narrow to see. There's a red one, a blue one, and even a silver one. When I squint, I can even see a faint spring green one as well. There are others, but I can't see why... Wait. There are others, but I can't see why... But I can't see what they were... There are others, but I can't see what they are before Silver shoves her hand back into her pockets. Bearing the light, I put the necklace back on too.
Thanks. I feel a lot better hearing you say that.
That was like the worst reading I've ever done in this entire series. I'm so sorry. Oh.
I told you so. To think otherwise would be insulting.
In Silver's language, that's just how she says, "You're welcome."
Anyway, none of that is the reason I came here. I've come to keep my end of a promise.
You're
I'm
leaving?
tomorrow.
What? So soon?
The news hits me like a punch in the gut, even though she told me she was planning this a long time ago.
Soon? I've already stayed longer than I intended. There's nothing more for me to be had here.
That's not true. There's...
Nothing more to be found, I should say.
Abruptly, her voice softens. For maybe the first time ever, Silver's tone is gentle.
Your path may end here for now, but mine goes ever on. Perhaps someday it will come to a similar end, but not today, nor tomorrow. Surely you understand.
For as long as I've known her, I've hoped I could get through to Silver somehow. Help her see some of the things that I was blind to myself. Especially now as we're just starting to become friends. Or maybe now that we've been friends for a while. Either way, I wish he would stay. But also, just like how I've already vowed to let the dog go if he wants to leave, I know I can't keep her here. And just like with Aspen, as much as I might want to do more, all I can do is try to support her. The rest is up to Silver.
Yeah. I understand. I'm coming to see you off, though.
Silver considers for a second.
Fine. I'll come to you here in the morning. Early. Be ready.
I will.
Good. I've said all I came to say then. Until tomorrow.
Without another word, she turns and heads for the door, disappearing through it like she disappears into the trees. In the evening, after the library is already closed, there's a knock at the door while I'm downstairs. It sounds urgent.
Coming.
Oh, gosh, I can't tell if that was actually the game or my headphones. I couldn't tell there. I open the door and find a worried-looking Gwen and Elijah.
Miho, is Tommy here?
Nope. I haven't seen him since we talked last night. Is he missing?
Yeah, he was at the house with me, and I went to pick up some dinner. When I got back, he was gone.
We hope maybe he came here to visit you.
Although I still talk to all three of them every day, it's been a while since I've seen Tommy in person. Not since the last time he and Gwen came to the library, which was a couple weeks ago.
I haven't seen him. Did something happen?
Well,
The two of them look at each other.
we finally got the divorce paperwork finalized. So now it's official.
I think he'd been hoping that maybe it wouldn't happen. But we just got everything signed, so now there's no going back.
Let me go get ready, and I'll help you look for him.
Thank you.
I let Juliet know what I'm doing, and she agrees to look after everything while I'm gone. When I hurry back outside, Gwen and Elijah are waiting
I don't
for
think
me.
he could have gone too far. I just went down the street to pick up some pizzas, and Gwen came over as soon as I told her he was missing.
It's not the first time he's gone to hide, but he's never run away from home like this before.
We walk down the residential streets with Elijah and Gwen, alternating calling for Tommy. I keep my eyes peeled for not just him, but for Gerby too. None of us have any luck. Near the beach, we
Maybe
stop.
should split up. I'll go check at the house again in case he went back. Gwen, maybe you can look around in town?
All right. But what about Miho?
I have an idea, actually. I'm gonna look around Mount Victoria.
Is he hiding in the den?
Okay, we all have our phones, so we can call if one of us finds him. And then we can meet back here, all right?
Elijah and I both agree, and then we all go our separate ways. I head straight for the mountain, and then veer off a path into the woods. For a while, it had seemed like Tommy was coming to terms with everything that was happening in his life. Was the shock of the divorce going through really enough to make him run away from home like this? I followed the path that Tommy and I took when we came here a while ago, until finally I reached what used to be my den. It's in an even worse shape than the last time I came here. Still, I'm not surprised to find Tommy sitting in the dirt that used to be its entrance, holding tightly onto Gerby. There are tear stains around his eyes, and his clothes are filthy.
Hey there. Looking for bugs?
He shakes his head.
Your parents are looking for you, you know. They came to the library to see if you were there. They told me why you might have run away.
Tommy shakes his head again, but more vigorously.
I wasn't running away. I was chasing Gerby.
The fabled wiggles in his arms.
You know how Gerby can fly, right? But look what happens now.
Cautiously, Tommy stands up and sets Gerby on the ground. Immediately, Gerby starts to rise into the air like a balloon, pulled up towards the sky. Tommy grabs him before he can get too high and hugs him to his chest again.
Gerby's not doing that himself?
The fabled shakes his head, eyes looking somewhat sad.
No, it just started happening. First he kept hitting the ceiling, then when Dad went to go get dinner, he left the door open and Gerby blew outside. And I had to run to go catch him, and we ended up coming here. I was gonna go home, but I don't know what to do.
Is Gerby supposed to be a metaphor for the divorce and the pain he's going through and that he's gonna have to let it go? Is that what it's supposed to be? Is that what's happening in game right now? Because that's not cool, man. This is gonna make me sad. I see tears start to sparkle in Tommy's eyes again, and he sniffles. It's good to know he didn't leave because of the news about his parents, but the change with Gerby is a mystery.
Is it okay if we go meet up with your parents? I know they're pretty worried. And we can tell them about Gerby too.
Okay, I'm not letting go of him though.
I lead us back towards where I split up with Tommy's parents as we do. As we do, I call Gwen
Miho?
first.
Tell me you found him.
I did. Yeah. We're headed to the beach now.
Thank God. I'll see you there soon.
She disconnects and I call Elijah next.
Hey, I found Tommy. and we're going to the meetup spot right now.
You did? You're a lifesaver, Mio. Is he alright?
Yeah, he's fine. He was just chasing after Gerby.
Kirby? I should have figured that out.
What do you mean?
I'll tell you guys about it in person. See you in a bit.
Oh yeah, it's like a thing of like, once they get old enough or the seasons change, he's got to move on. Otherwise, something bad's gonna happen, or he just has to do it. I don't know. I'm scared. We're the first ones to reach the shore. Tommy stands with his feet in the water, still clutching Gerby against his chest. He sniffles occasionally, but doesn't cry. Footsteps from behind us signal Gwen and Elijah's arrival. Tommy and I turn around, and both of his parents' eyes go wide.
Is that?
Wait, can they actually see him now?
Kirby?
The two of them are looking right at the little fabled. As Tommy realizes, his expression also changes to shock.
Can you see him?
What? What? Stunned, both of his parents nod. Gerby waves his flower arms, looking thrilled to finally be noticed.
Well, I'll be. The little guy looks just like I imagined.
Something's wrong with Gerby. If I let go of him, he starts to blow away in the wind. I don't know what happened to him.
Is that why you ran out?
Yeah, I had to catch him.
With a small smile, Elijah steps forward and pats his son on the head.
I heard something kind of interesting, actually. I asked a lot of people from work if they'd ever heard of a fable like Gerby. And it turns out one of them had. He said that when he was young, he had a friend just like Gerby, his only friend. They kept him company when his parents were fighting, or when anything else that was bad was happening. Then, once he got older and things weren't as tough anymore, he said his friend had to leave him one day in order to go to help out the next kid who needed someone.
He's just like a fairly godparent. Oh, that's so sad. But at the same time, also means that his life's better, you know? He's accepting, like, his parents' divorce. He has Mio as a friend. Like, things are, like, working out, but now because they're working out, he has to lose Gerby. That sucks.
He told me that fabled like Gerby stick around until they know that their friends will be okay without them. And then it's time for them to go. Sounds like maybe this is that time for Gerby.
But I don't want him to go. I want him to stay.
Tommy can't keep himself from crying anymore. Although he holds on to Gerby, big tears roll down his face. In his arm, Gerby looks up at him kindly.
Sweetie, sometimes we don't have a choice. Sometimes we have to let things go, even if it's hard. From what Dad said, it sounds like Gerby knows you're tough and that you'll be okay, right? Don't you trust Gerby?
I do, but
Tommy holds out his arms so he can face his friends properly.
is it true? Do you really have to leave?
Gerby's petal sags as he nods, patting Tommy's hand. Gwen wipes Tommy's eyes from him as Tommy pulls Gerby into a hug. His tears drip onto Gerby's leaves like rain.
There's someone else who needs you, right?
Still close to Tommy, Gerby nods again.
Okay.
Gwen and Elijah move to either side of Tommy, and I step away, keeping a respectful distance. It doesn't really involve me after all. Gwen kneels down in front of Tommy, smiling.
Thank you, Gerby, for being there for Tommy.
Yeah, thanks, Gerby.
Finally, it's Tommy's turn.
Thank you, Gerby, for being my friend. I'll miss you.
With a big sniffle, Tommy manages to stop crying. Gerby leans against Tommy, the top of his flower tickling Tommy's chin. Tommy giggles. Oh. Oh. This is like beautiful. Oh my gosh. Then he opens his arms. I was not expecting to get emotional for Gerby. Okay, not that there's anything wrong with Gerby, I just wasn't expecting it. You know what I mean? I wasn't like, this like goodbye is like coming out of nowhere, but it's like hitting me so hard, and like I'm sorry, like it slightly tear up a little bit. It's like, what the freak? Then he opens his arms. Each of his parents takes one of Tommy's hands as Gerby floats there for a second, and then slowly starts to rise. With his tiny little petals, Gerby waves goodbye, eyes crinkled in a smile. The breeze shakes his leaves, but it doesn't knock him off his course. Up, up, up he goes, reaching Tommy's eye level, then Elijah, and then floating above their heads. From behind them, I can see Tommy squeezing his parents' hands
Bye,
tightly.
Gerby.
After a final whispered farewell, Gerby continues to drift up until he's eventually out of sight. Tommy, Gwen, and Elijah remain there, standing in the shallow water. Quietly, I sneak away, leaving the three of them on their own. I'm sure I'll hear all about it later when we have our regular call, but for now, I think they have a few things that they probably want to talk about together. As I make my way back to the library, I smile, glad that things worked out. It may take some time, but I know that they'll be alright in the end. After all, I trust Gerby too. Stop. Like, I've actually, like, it takes a village made with friends. It takes a village made with friends, Tommy. What? Gosh, we said goodbye to Gerby. Now I have to say goodbye to Silver, and then we'll have to say goodbye to Aspen, and then Julia. And it's gonna be so. I can't right now. Okay, we're gonna go with a slightly longer episode today, just because like this isn't like it's enough time that it could technically be an episode. But I'm like, this is gonna be the last one I record for today, and I probably won't record much tomorrow. Just because I plan to do a lot of cleaning and stuff, and I do have a little bit of stuff going on tomorrow, so I won't be able to play again till Friday. So, and I'm recording this on a Wednesday, so like, whatever. So I'll go a little bit longer. Judging by the knocking at my window, it turns out Silver and I have different ideas of early. I roll over in bed, not totally sure that I'm dreaming. I roll over in bed, not totally sure that I'm not dreaming, in time to see Silver gesture at me and then leap off the tree again. A few minutes and lots of eye rubbing later, I'm ready and outside to meet her. With the dog staying behind without any arguments this time. She's carrying a small sack with her, which I assume contains all her belongings. It's tied shut with a small rope and she slings it over her shoulder. We don't exchange any words of greeting. Instead, we just start walking. As frustrating as it can be half the time, sometimes I also appreciate her willingness to just end a conversation or not even start one. I don't have to worry about being a good enough conversationalist for her. It's easy to get more out of her silence than it is many others. Too. The fact that she let me come along on this trip, much less came to get me, says a lot. We make our way through the streets, not seeing many other pedestrians or even cars. Only a handful of city buses, a couple of them roaming around empty too. Silver walks faster than either Aspen or Juliet, but I'm able to keep pace easily. It makes our journey pretty short though. The glass walls and security gates of the skyport come into view, waiting for us. It was the first place to greet us when we arrived, and now it's ready to see her off again. Hang on, I need more water. I don't know if I'm just dehydrated, but like with streaming, I talk more than this at any given point, but my mouth's been so dry lately. Or I guess like today. I wonder what Silver's thinking about right now. Is she feeling sad at all, preparing to miss this place? Or is she ready to leave and potentially never return? Good or bad, I don't think she'll ever be able to forget her time in Wellington. We come to a stop just a few meters away from the entrance, facing the double glass doors. Our reflections stare back at us.
Call me Unbi.
Unbi?
Unbi?
I like the way she says it. In Korean, Un for silver, Bi for rain, silver rain. Unbi, that's such a nice name. Although she doesn't turn to me, I can still see her face turn red in the glass.
It's the name I've settled on. What do you think?
I love it. I hope she sees
I
me
think it's
grin.
perfect.
Grin. Thank you. I'm not sure what words to say. I've never said goodbye before.
It's okay. I never know either. I hope you'll come back someday. Or that we'll see each other again somewhere else.
Fate brought us together once. Perhaps it'll do so again.
So you think it was fate after all, huh?
Perhaps not.
He looks down at her wrist, surely thinking about her bead even though it's hidden.
If not fate, then shall we make a promise that neither of us can keep?
Oh?
You haven't broken a promise to me yet.
We'll meet someday then. Perhaps you won't even recognize me. I might be someone else entirely.
Someday. I'm sure that I'll recognize you, though. You might change, but you'll still be you, no matter what.
Even if I'm NB now.
You've been NB the whole time.
Like always, I can tell when she's about to leave. Before she can, there's something I have to ask. I might not get another chance.
At first, you didn't want me to call you Silver. With your magic, what does a silver aura mean?
Our eyes meet in the glass. Finally, she closes her eyes with a tiny
Shame.
smile.
Goodbye, Miho.
Now all I'm thinking about is like, what does that mean? Is she ashamed? Like, is she ashamed of what she is? I mean, or is she just like, she's just too associated with that color with the feeling of shame, and she sees it a lot? Does she see it in herself? But now she's naming herself Silver Rain, so it means that she's not. So hang on, I'm just trying to like story analyze this really quick. Sorry, I kind of ruined the moment. I realized what I was doing. I was like, this is kind of like ruining such a beautiful goodbye scene. But sorry, I'm just putting my thoughts into words really quick. Like, does she maybe like see like with like herself? Does she see like all the silver? Like maybe she like how do I put this? How do I put this? She associates the color of silver with the shame. But then with Miho calling her Silver, it's sort of like it's not something to be ashamed of anymore. So she's accepting her color or her aura. I'm trying to like think of like what that means. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so probably off. That's something I need to think about more.
Goodbye, NB.
It takes her just a couple steps to reach the door. They slide open, silently dissolving our reflections. Yunbi doesn't look back when she strolls through, letting them shut behind her once again. I'm left looking at myself and only myself. Finally, I turn around too and start making my way back home. What does that mean? Oh, I'm like, oh, that was definitely like built off of something, but I'm like, ha. Ha, also that line right there is so cute. The last library guest of the day turns out to be my favorite one, Aspen. That's so cute. That's so cute. But I'm now like, okay, but like, what does it mean? Why does it mean shame? And so is she no longer ashamed? But then why is she still naming herself Silver? Or is she just like over her shame, so she's willing to accept Silver? I can't tell. I can't tell. It's something I'm gonna have to sit with a little bit. I feel like this and with like Fate, I'm like, oh, I can feel like I can like get the themes as we're reading them decently okay. But that's like the one where I'm slightly like, I feel like I have like a couple ideas of what it means. And like all of them seem like very likely. So I was one of those things I want to think about more, like parse out and be like, oh, out of these options, this one's what it means. That's that sort of thing. But regardless, like it's still it's still a good moment. What a good moment. I didn't expect like, especially with like Silver, like she kind of came in was being like the edgy like shadow to Miho's Sonic essentially. She was the shadow to Miho's Sonic essentially. And I was like, she's just kind of being like edgy, whatever. This is the only time we see her. That's fine with me. And then she kept coming back. And the way that Please Be Happy works is I just like her now. And now that she's gone, it's like, oh, that's sad. Like it wasn't like a tearjerker because of like how it was all set up. It's more of like I'm happy for her, you know? Like she seems like she's doing better, and it seems like even the way she's talking about herself, it's like she'll be she'll be changed the next time we see her, and that's exciting. Even though we're probably not going to see her for the rest of the visual novel, I wouldn't be surprised if she doesn't show back up for the rest of this. But yeah, with all that being said, what a banger of an episode though. We got 2 CGs. We said goodbye to 2 characters. It really does feel like it's wrapping up, and that makes me scared. So, but also excited. So with all that being said, I'll see all you beautiful peeps in the next one. Bye bye.